plan is simple. We break into the Capitol building, we infiltrate the government, and we kidnap the Speaker of the House.
Everyone down on the ground, FBI! You're on the ground! it's over.
Oh, it's over, all right. It's over.
For all of you FBI scum, we're the true patriots, standing up for liberty and stuff. Wait just 1 minute. Steve Crenshaw. You got me. First, we got everyone here. We're all FBI agents, if that hasn't been obvious.
All right. FBI.
I don't know how you sleep at night. Traitors.
What do you know? We were all FBI agents the whole time.
What do you know? We were all FBI agents the whole time. Isn't that about it? I mean, it's satire only because it's true. This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri. I am grateful for all you all out there watching live or watching on the rerun. As I watch my numbers on Facebook get smaller and smaller and smaller, because like I've got 11,000 plus followers on Facebook. No one knows that I exist. Oh, you're still broadcasting? I get that message all the time. Yeah, go to Rumble. Anyways, I'm glad you all are out there. Thanks for jumping on. Make sure you follow me on the other socials as we get started today. Let's see. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice to be glad in it. The word of the day coming from Marine in the Woods over on Rumble is 1 Peter 3, 8 through 16. Make sure you check that out. Blow the dust off your Bible and maybe read it. I don't know why God would allow all the evil things that happen to happen. Well, have you read his book? Have you read his? He says that if you do certain things, you'll be blessed. And if you do other certain things, you'll be cursed. Maybe you should read it. And I'll answer your questions. Just saying. Thanks, Mike, for that over on Rumble. Says, good morning, Mike and Patriot family, checking in from Rockford, Illinois. I hope you all are having a great day wherever you are from. Make sure you go follow me on the other socials. It's important that you follow me on the other socials so that when I'm not on the one you're used to, you can follow me on TikTok at Mike Cook 82. You can follow me on X at Patriot Mike Show. The links to the Rumble, and I'm live on X this show is now broadcasted live on X, so you can watch it over there. You could follow me on Truth at Patriot Mike Show. I can't do lives on Truth yet, or I would. Make sure you follow me at Patriot Mike Show on Facebook. Many of you are watching there right now. I have thousands of followers on that page, and some days I'll have 200, 300, 400, 500 people watching me on that page. And some days I'll have 10 because it depends on Facebook. You can also follow my personal page, Mike Cook. You can also follow me, and I highly recommend you follow me on Telegram. Not many of you are. There's a couple thousand people that follow me on Telegram. A lot of you are like, I don't like Telegram. Follow me on Telegram. That's where all the links are at. That's where all the videos are at. And where'd you get that video? Where'd you get that meme? It's right there on Telegram. I know a lot of you are following me on Telegram because you're following me or you're friends with me on Facebook. And I see posts that I post on Telegram, screenshotted and shared. You see, when you screenshot a post, a meme from Telegram, and you one of the first people to share it on Facebook, you're way less likely to get suspended on Facebook because you create your own stuff. When you share, that's when you get kicked off. That's when you get your 90 days. People ask me all the time, how come you know that? I saw this on Facebook. Here, check it out. It's really good. And it is really good. But if it's already on Facebook, I can't put it on my show because that's how Facebook's algorithms will find me. So I can't do it. So I've got to be ahead of the game. And there's a lot of content on my Telegram page that's ahead of the game. Also, highly recommend you follow me on Rumble. Go to Rumble, create an account, type Patriot Mike Cook, and follow me on Rumble. And you can join all the chatty folks over on Rumble, where more than double the amount of people watch me on Rumble than anywhere else. And you can chat away and do all that good stuff with them folks over there in the chat room. I have more tools to get rid of the trolls over on Rumble. It works good. And also in the bottom left-hand corner of Rumble is a little tip jar. If you feel so inclined, you can hit the tip jar. That's what Mike did earlier. Also on Rumble, you can go over to Rumble and hit the join button, the little red join button, to kick me out. Doggone it. I was going to show you the locals, but it reset and kicked me out. So I got to log in, and I don't remember the password at the top of my head. I have to go look it up because I usually just stay logged in. Anyways, you can hit the join button and you can go to my locals channel. Now, it is paid. It's $5 a month. But in the local channels, there's content, and I'm going to be adding more and more and more and more. I've got something just about edited and ready to go to that. So only people who are paid subscribers get, including right now a discount code for my t-shirts over on the locals. If you want to get a t-shirt and you want to save a few bucks, join the locals community, and you can save a few bucks on the t-shirts, including the brand new t-shirt, the Ogbu Snack Bar t-shirt. And if you'd like to get your hands on this t-shirt, go to bonfire.com/store/Patriot Mike Show, Patriot-Mike-Show-1, or hit the link in the description section of this video. Also, while you're watching right now, everybody go hit the thumbs up, hit the reaction, hit comment away anywhere you can comment. If you're watching this on a rerun, comment. By doing this over there on YouTube's comment, and all that stuff, because by doing this, it wakes up the algorithms and helps spread the word around a little bit. It's not a foolproof plan, but it does help. It helps a little bit. So before we get started, we're getting started right here on conspiracy theories. I know many of you have your favorite conspiracy theories, but there's breaking news. Scientists have now discovered that scientists warn that the Earth could run out of conspiracy theories by 2025 if they keep coming true at the current rate. So there you have it. And that is true. I have personally run out of conspiracy theories because mine have all come true. Now, I do beat back on some of the ones that are incorrect. We got to stick with the true stuff. There's enough true stuff out there. John Rich says this: I'd estimate well over 90% of Republicans and Democrats are either leveraged, in other words, bought and paid for, blackmailed, or bought and paid for by entities outside our country. You want to know why we have a crap show on our hands? Because almost every one of them answers to someone other than we the people. So there you have John Rich, and I agree with what his sentiments are. Then we're going to start off with this right here. This is we've been talking about the economy. There's a couple of articles on my Telegram page. They're way too long, way too in-depth for me to go over. But one of the things, one of the articles goes into why the CPI that came out last month is inaccurate, why the government is lying to us and how they're lying to us, how they're manipulating the numbers. And this author believes that we're already 6 months into a stagflation recession, pushing on a depression, and that they're lying to us. And their lies are becoming bolder. We'll get to that in a minute. Their lies are becoming bolder. But there's things happening right now all around us that indicate these things. For example, I've talked about this. Banks' balance sheets are collateralized by real estate. Huge properties are being marked down 70 to 90%. The damage to the banking sector is off the charts catastrophic and beyond the capabilities of the Fed to bail out, even with $100 trillion TARP-like package. So what this author is saying is that because of how upside down and how screwed up the banks are, that even if they were to print $100 trillion and give it to the banks, it would not bail them out. Now, that's a scary thought. That's a really scary thought. Here's another story. Just happened yesterday. Moody's downgrades JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America. U.S. banking giants face bleak outlook. Three of America's titans, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, have been slapped with negative ratings by Moody Investor Service. Previously considered stable, these institutions now find themselves teetering on the edge as Moody cites concerns over U.S. government's dwindling capacity to support its systematically important banks, too big to fail. But what happens when too big to fail becomes too big to save? This abrupt downgrade raises critical questions about the stability of American financial landscape and the risks that lie ahead. The financial giants in peril. Moody's recent decision to downgrade these banking giants comes as a thunderclap warning of the looming instability of U.S. financial sector. And then analyst Peter E. Nearby of Moody's points to the dire outlook of bank debt, which is what I'm talking about. They have a massive amount of debt, and the things that they use to collateralize those debts, U.S. bonds and real estate, are collapsing. Potentially weaker capacity of the government of the United States of America to support the U. What this? Let me translate this to you into mid-Missouri talk. Government ain't got enough money because we're pushing $34 trillion in debt to cover the banks if they collapse, to bail them out. They can't go out and print because no one is buying the government bonds. Last month on the 30-year Treasury bonds auction, nobody bought any. This week they're supposed to have another bond auction. If nobody buys the 20-year bonds, we're in trouble. JP Morgan Chase, a Goliath in the world of finance, received a particularly harsh downgrade. Moody's rationale includes concerns over the bank's complex capital market business, which may pose substantial risk to creditors. Any potential upgrade for JP Morgan, Moody insists, hinges on its ability to maintain strong and stable performance and capital levels that surpass its competitors. Despite Moody's grim outlook, it is noteworthy that all three banks have managed to keep their stock prices in the green for November so far, defying the odds in the face of adversity. But the storm clouds of uncertainty continue to gather on the horizon. Now, how are these banks keeping their stock prices high? That's where the rubber meets the road. You see, they can have all these bad things going on, but if their stock price remains high, they'll be able to continue to operate. But if their stock market starts, how are they keeping their stocks high? Well, because the money printers are keeping their stocks high. But the But the overnight reverse repurchase agreement, like I told you, all this money right here coming through from when they printed trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, gave us all $600 to stimulate us. All this money's running out. The overnight repurchase agreement, where they're feeding money to the big banks, they give it. So you got to understand. It says right here. Says the reverse repurchase agreements, also known as repo or RRP, is a transaction in which the New York Fed, under authorization and direction of the Federal Open Market Committee, sells securities to eligible counterparty with an agreement to repurchase that security at a specific time price and a specific time in the future. Who are the eligible counterparties? Well, that would be JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America. Sound familiar? And it's going down. It's down again. It's down again. It's down below for the first time this last week. For the first time in 3 years, is down below $1 trillion a day. It's been, for 2 years, it's been above $2 trillion a day. All this money flooding into the banks is how they're keeping their stock prices higher, because they got this money to manipulate the market. Right now, even after Moody's downgrades yesterday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 163. NASDAQ's up 114. SP 500 is up 24. Everybody go get in the stock market. It's going up, up, up. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Gold, by the way, is above 2,000 again. But this is how they're doing it. But this money runs out. What I was listening to Robbie Faber. I listened to him. He's a in-game economics expert, is what his thing is. And he thinks the middle of January to the middle of February is when this thing runs out of money. And when it does, then they can't manipulate the market anymore. And that's when the crap hits the fan. And Lieutenant Dan's over there in Rumble saying, like, Brad Barton pushing Sarah and JFK Jr. Well, I don't know about all that. I didn't watch his show, and I don't push Nasara. I am not in favor of Nasara, because Nasara sounds to me an awful lot like you'll own nothing and be happy. There is no golden pot at the end of the rainbow. Nobody's coming to pay off the debts you signed up for. Nobody's coming to pay off your mortgage. You got to understand, nothing is for free. In order for them to take wealth and pay things off, other than just printing money into oblivion, which would be the same problem we already have, they have to take that wealth from somebody else. Well, they're going to get the big oligarchs, and they're going to get their money and Look, it ain't happening. Am I having a show on Friday? I don't know yet. Somebody's asking. I don't know yet. I don't know what my wife hasn't told me what my schedule is yet. So if I'm at no show tomorrow, up in the air on Friday. So if I come on and I'm live on Friday, great. If not, you guys have a great week and enjoy time with your family. Forget this politics stuff this weekend. How about that? But anyways, so I don't Nasara Jasara just because it sounds too much like the right-wing version of you'll own nothing and be happy. No, thank you. If a whole bunch, well, they're just going to take a bunch of gold and if they give everybody a bunch of money, it will be worthless. Your money won't buy anything because everything will inflate through the roof. If everybody got $1 billion worth of gold next week because Nasara Jasara kicked in, your money would be worthless unless you have a command and control government. And me personally, I don't want to command and control government. Me personally, I want to leave me the hell alone, government. Let me make my own way. I want the government that we had between 1850 and about 1913. I know the wars in there. I know the American LLC BS. I know all that stuff. Okay. I get it. I understand. But here's what I'm saying. Between 1850 and 1913, we basically, other than during the Civil War, had our currency was decentralized and based on gold and silver. And we had and there was no government regulation. None of these bureaucracies existed. And everything in our modern life today, from computers to cell phones to radios to airplanes to automobiles to electricity, all of it was discovered and or created in that time frame, and we just live off of it today. All of the modern technologies that we have today are based upon that time frame when man's ingenuity was unleashed. And then the robber barons, the people who created extreme wealth when there was no taxes, no government that interfered and screwed you over and prevent you from becoming wealthy, decided they didn't want any interlopers and wanted it all for themselves. And that's when it all changed. And they've been manipulating and controlling ever since in one form or another. And it's wrong. But that doesn't mean, guess what? It's wrong. I don't like it. I think it's, well, you don't have to pay the IRS. You don't have to pay the IRS. There's two Nasera Jaceras, and it will be with the new, I know, quantitative system, whatever. We will have rainbow currency. I do believe if we have rainbow currency, it'll be fiat. I believe the debt will be paid as based off the system that was illegal, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine and dandy. But if that happens, you will have a hyperinflating in currency. These are laws. These are Austrian economic laws based on reality. These are laws, financial laws that have existed since, I don't know, Noah. It doesn't matter. If you have a panacea, it doesn't work. Never has, never will. What we need is decentralized, not centralized. We need a currency and an economic system. Go look and study what we had in the 1850s, 1860s, except for the Civil War, and then after in the 1880s. The government printed coins, silver and gold coins. That's it. They didn't have dollar. If you wanted a piece of paper to carry around, you know where you got those from? Your bank. Your bank would hold your silver and gold coins for you and issue you paper on your silver and gold. That's the way that it worked back in the day. But we can't have that. And the IRS, I know everybody tells you don't have to pay them. Pay them their fiat currency, because if you don't, they'll come take everything you have and lock you up in jail. because they have that power. Whether you like it or not. The Biden plan is working, they said. The Biden plan is working. Thanksgiving sticker shock. Turkey up 31%. Bread up 26%. Taters up 14%. Pie up 31%. And apple pie up 23% because it works. The IRS is, yeah, right. Gary says the IRS is so powerful they can raid your house without a warrant. The IRS can raid your house without a warrant. They can seize your assets without a court order, never go to court. They can seize your bank accounts. They can seize your business. They can come in and change the locks, kick you out. There was a business here in town that had an IRS sale. The guy was screwing up and not paying. They showed up. They walked in and they looked at the employees and said, "Get out. We're with the IRS. Get out." And the guy goes, "Can I grab my tool and my lunchbox?" He said, "No, those stay here. You can fill out paperwork and receive that later." They took the guy's lunch, the employee. They went and they welded onto the metal door a lock and clasp and put a lock on the thing. Then they had an auction and auctioned it off. I went to the auction. They can just take your stuff. You are guilty with the IRS until you prove yourself innocent. It's totally anti what our founding fathers had in mind when they started this country. Completely. But that doesn't change the fact that they can do what they can do, and there's not a damn thing you could do about it. And if you go down this road of you don't have to pay them, I agree with you. It's BS. But what happens if you don't? I'll tell you what happens. You end up in jail and they take everything. So give them their fiat currency that isn't worth anything. Take whatever you have left, put it into something that's worth something. And then once you transfer that over to something that's worth something, and let me tell you something else. Get yourself a side gig. Go to work. Be a slave, because that's what you are. I mean, the government gets 50% of what you earn. What does that make you? But get yourself a side gig, because a side gig will make you free. Okay? And I suggest 2 side gigs. One, like what I do with the liquid bile cell. This creates wealth. This creates, if you do it right, I mean, there's an opportunity here for someone to make some extra money. I can show you immediately, if you'll do the work, how to make a couple $100 extra a month. And that's not an income claim. That's math. Okay. Just by selling the product. Well, a couple $100 a month could save people from losing their home, losing their car, whatever. But the other side gig that you should figure out is how to sell things, how to buy and sell things under the table. Oh my gosh, Mike look, flipping things is an age-old tradition. I flip things all the time. I'm looking at something right now that I think is a great opportunity. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to figure that stuff out for yourself. Where I could buy some stuff and sell some stuff and make some money. And, cash is king. But pay the IRS out of their fiat currency that isn't worth anything anyway. Or says her daughter's selling Mary Kay on the side. Yeah, Mary Kay is a long-time company, been around for a long, long time. But the Bidenomics is working, they say. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre talking about how great it is.
Cost of a Thanksgiving dinner fell this year. Prices are down for turkey, stuffing, peas, cranberries, pie crust, and whipping cream. This Thanksgiving dinner is the 4th cheapest ever as a percentage of average earnings.
Okay, so the Bureau of Labor Stats shows a different picture, David. Since the president took office, the price of turkey has jumped more than 31%. Other holiday staples like bread, potatoes, and pie are also costing more. A recent poll shows deep pessimism among voters. Just 19% say they feel confident that life will be better for their children's generation than it was for them. That's an all-time low for that poll, David.
So they're sitting there telling you the sky is blue. They're sitting here telling you that there's nothing to see here. They're sitting here telling you how great everything is, how great everything seems to be. Just the price of everything is doing great. The price of everything is doing awesome. I don't know why that popped up like it did, but it did.
Everything is awesome.
Right.
Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is awesome when you're in a dream.
So even whipping cream, the price of whipping cream, according to Karine Jean-Pierre, is gone down. I bet you she knows a lot about whipping cream and stuff. Everything's awesome. The price of everything since Joe Biden's gone, gas prices are down. Since Joe Biden, look, what they're saying is that the inflation rate has gone down. The price hasn't changed. No, it's gone up. But then again, the inflation rate doesn't include whipping cream, doesn't include turkey, doesn't include pumpkin pie, doesn't include stuffing, doesn't include cured ham. That's not included. They don't count that in the inflation rate. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. But you don't want to know where things are happening. So they elect this new libertarian, a guy who's in favor of Bitcoin, a guy who's in favor of solid currencies. Do you know that Argentina 75 years ago was one of the richest nations on the planet? They've been voting left-wing, socialist, Marxist, and they've destroyed that country. 114% inflation this year. But they elect this guy. And this is what happens. Monday, the day after the election, was a public holiday in Argentina, delaying the market reaction. But immediately Tuesday, the stock market opened 20% up before easing off gains to 14%. The stock market rose 20% in Argentina. Just because they voted a different guy in. What's the stock market? It's a bet that things are going to get better. Well, with the guy we have right now, nobody's betting that it's going to get better. As a matter of fact, the good bet is that it's going to get, if you want to get rich, the good bet is that it's going to get worse. That's the bet. Come on. This is Newsweek. U.S. District Judge Amy Tollenberg issued a 135-page ruling last Friday in a long-running lawsuit seeking to rid Georgia of election voting machines. By the way, this lawsuit started in 2018 by a group backed by Stacey Abrams, who said she lost the election because the current governor stole it. How dare you? My Republican governor didn't steal no election. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. He's a Republican. Stacey Abrams didn't have any chance of winning that election. There's no way. How dare she? But she started a lawsuit going after the voter machines. Wait a second. one of the biggest people saying the election was most safe and secure, and that Donald Trump's a liar and still hates Donald Trump to this day and is running around doing everything they can to prevent anybody from looking at these machines, is the Secretary of State Republican and Governor Republican of Georgia. That's weird. Huh. Why wouldn't they want somebody looking at why wouldn't they want to make sure we have fair elections, unless maybe Stacey Abrams was right? You see, I don't think Dominion voting systems picks a side. I think it just depends on how much you pay. But anyways, back to the story. In favor of hand-marked paper ballots. In other words, this judge is now saying we need to switch to hand-marked paper ballots. The lawsuit filed by individual voters and election security advocacy group, the Coalition for Good Governance, argues that the machine's cybersecurity flaws violate the constitutional rights of voters to cast their votes and have their votes accurately counted. In a footnote of the ruling, Totenberg said, the evidence in the case does not suggest plaintiffs are conspiracy theorists because they all come true of any variety. Indeed, some of the nation's leading cybersecurity experts and computer scientists have provided testimony and affidavits on behalf of the plaintiffs' case in the long course of this litigation, she wrote. So in other words, Mike Lindell was right when he said the machines were rigged. The machines are flawed. We need to go to paper ballots. Now, everybody says, oh, we can't go to paper ballots. It'll take too long to count. It takes us a week and a half, 2 weeks to count now. Argentina, 35 million votes. 4.5 hours to count. You see, Pettis County, Missouri, with 50 some odd thousand people in it, gets their vote tallied and counted by 9 o'clock on every election. Kansas City and St. Louis takes days. Why do you think that is? Because in this mostly red state, the blue cities wait to see how much of the margin they have to overcome. One of the things that I want is paper ballots, but I also want no one's allowed to report their count until all the counts are reported. So in other words, Pettis County, Missouri says to the state election commission, we have completed our count and have a result. But that's it. When every precinct in Missouri says we have completed our count and we have our result, then the state says, turn in your results. Boom, you could do it electronically in a computer. Out of 50,000, maybe 25,000 votes. So you have 20,000 for Donald Trump and 5,000 for Biden. That's probably pretty close in my neighborhood. Turn it in. In this manner, St. Louis and Kansas City, highly blue districts, can't sit there and go, let's see, we got a 15% margin we got to overcome in order to win this thing. Because they won't know until it's all everybody's counted. And then at a federal level, the state of Missouri says, we have our count. We've completed. All counts are turned in. We have a result. No exit polls, no nothing. We have our result. And then when all 50 states report to the feds, the Federal Election Commission, that we have our results, you all turn it in at the same time. And then an hour later, we have ding, 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 a winner. I mean, why wouldn't we do that? I know why we wouldn't do that. Because you can't manipulate and steal the doggone election. That's why you wouldn't do it. Here's Mike Lindell talking about this very subject, talking about Georgia and talking about Argentina.
So in Argentina, they had all of these electronic voting machines. Isn't it a great thing, Brandon? I'm going to talk to you about this. It's a great thing that, we don't know in Argentina. I haven't looked into their past elections, but my guess is they were all rigged and they were all in with the electronic voting machine. But we will tell you this, with all the, let's just say that there's no hacking involved, Brandon. If there's no hacking involved, and then you have all these malfunctions and all these things the day of elections, everybody, these are actually great things because look what that judge said. We can't have this problem. So he gets rid of them.
She, just to be fair.
What?
She
Gets rid of them and says, no, they got to go. We can't have these machines. She's not even say that they're hacking in. They just don't work. There's defect, there's problems. You can't have your most important thing, your critical infrastructure, which are your election. You can't rely on these computers and stuff for that. So they went wrong, 200 and some machines, they say.
That's right, here it is. Show the screenshot. In the note, the judge included details of problems with 250 electronic voting machines in that one city.
Right. In just one city, everybody. So they go bad. And now here's the thing. But that's a good thing to happen because why? That made the judge go, you know what? We got to get rid of them. What we've been saying here, I've been saying for almost 3 years, get rid of these machines, go to paper ballots, hand counted. That's what Argentina did. What did it manifest to everybody? And Logan, I want you to get ready to change the background on me now if you can. We're going to see what we have back. This is Argentina behind me. All the people celebrating because they finally had an election and not a selection. Brandon, and guess what? They counted, I believe it's 30 million ballots that were counted the same night as the election. If what a concept, right? Is that something else?
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Do you happen to know how long it was from the time that judge ruled to the time of their election? How long did it take a country of that size to switch to paper ballots? This is very, very important that everybody knows this.
Well, it was from the ruling. I mean, the judge's ruling was back in October.
Listen to this.
So then the election was just held. So, a month?
So they ruled no machines a month ago.
That's what this is dated. Let's see. The initial article is October 21st. The other one we were looking at is dated. Let's see, the date on that one is August. Okay, so probably August.
Yeah,
so from August to November.
Yeah, I'm going to say it was even a little bit before that, but we'll just say it was July. We'll give them another month. So July, August, September, October. So basically, everybody in 4 months, granted, just like the country of the Netherlands did a long time ago, they completely got rid of machines and went to paper ballots, hand counted in less than 4 months.
Yep.
The Netherlands took almost 5 months, everybody, but it looks like Argentina, they just did it, said, you know what, a judge ordered it, we got to do it. That was 30 million people, I believe. Is that correct, Brandon, that voted?
I believe it was. And it does look like it looks like the ruling may have come down in early August. So, yeah, from August to November.
So the ruling came down in August, and in 2 months, they switched from electronic voting machines to paper ballots. 30 million people or so in Argentina. 30 million voters. So we can surely do it here too. It's a state-by-state cases in our country. The authority and power of how we vote for president is the legislatures of the several states. The legislature, not the governor, not the Secretary of State, not the Supreme Court of the state, not the Supreme Court of the United States, the legislature. That's what makes Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. This is why they backed up a lot of this stuff in Wisconsin and Michigan. A lot of wins there. That's what makes them, Colorado, so nefarious, is the legislature didn't make these changes for the mail-in ballots and machine votings, it was the Secretary of States, the governors, and then the courts. And again, why is a Republican governor and a Republican Secretary of State so adamant that they don't want to secure the elections in the state of Georgia? Well, I think the simple answer is because Stacey Abrams, when she says that they stole the election, it's because she knows they stole the election. Now, does that mean Stacey Abrams is clear and pure and clean as the wind driven? No, not at all. But it takes a thief to know a thief. That's what it means. It takes a thief to know a thief. Here's another post on it. It says, this is an Obama-appointed federal judge just ruled against voting machines in Georgia. Now, mind you, this ruling in the case in Georgia, the RICO charges in Georgia, the RICO charges don't exist if the election was stolen. The RICO charges don't exist if there was election problems in Georgia, period. Understand what I'm saying to you. They don't exist because if there is any, and by the way, we'll get to this in a minute, some 3,000 ballots are confirmed duplicated in Fulton County. If that's the case, then what Donald Trump did by questioning the election in Georgia was his duty as president of the United States. There's no RICO because if there was a crime that the president of the United States was trying to get the government to look at, duplicating ballots is a crime, then there's no RICO, no conspiracy to overthrow the government. The conspiracy to overthrow the government is what the people looking into it were looking for. The ones who duplicated the ballots, the ones who programmed the machines. But you know, the media, they know that they're in trouble. Listen to this as these Democrats on MSNBC Morning Joe. Listen to this. Listen to what she says.
Republicans have a base problem. Their base controls their party.
Right.
And so that's why Donald Trump is going to be their nominee. And I'm thinking about with this off year election and all of the things that they ran on that were losers besides abortion, book bans,
Right.
anti-woke, gas stoves.
What do you say? The trans didn't well, this you're right. It is a base like Democrats. What do they do with their base?
Yeah.
We'll get back to it in a couple of weeks. I mean, but the Republican base
is running the show.
They run the show.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, the book bans, Moms for Liberty had a really bad night. I mean, all of this stuff is because Republicans cannot control their base. Their base now runs the show. And so you have these crazy ideas being shopped, and Republicans are losing on these ideas. And quite frankly, they should. They're morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
And and you know, it's overreach. People don't want the government in their bedroom and in their schools. And I mean, they want them.
And yet.
First of all, Republican beliefs are morally reprehensible. Republican beliefs are morally reprehensible. You know, standing out saying we shouldn't just kill our babies because they're inconvenient is morally reprehensible, these people. Saying we shouldn't have books describing how to masturbate in the 4th grade is morally reprehensible to these people. Saying we shouldn't have preverts with pink hair dudes dressed as women in classrooms trying to convince children that they should be like them so they'll have something to do when they get older is morally reprehensible. Just think about that for a second. That's morally reprehensible. Who defines morals? Who defines morals? Think about this for a second. Who defines morals? Well, if man defies morals, then there are no morals. But if there's a higher power, how shall I say, an ultimate judge who defines what is morally correct, then morals are not decided by preverts who want to molest our children, who want to teach our children how to the proper use of bananas at the age of 8 and 9 years old. We don't want to teach our children at 8 and 9 years old how to use the back door or practice fellatio. Why does that have to be brought up at all? Why can't we let them figure that stuff out in college? Look, human nature is human nature. All that stuff will work itself out. And besides, if they're so concerned about the proper, safe ways of doing this, that's going to interfere in their sacrifices to their god Baal through Planned Parenthood. The number one way to guarantee you won't produce a child is abstinence. Other types of birth control are 99% effective. That means 1 out of 100, it doesn't work. But every single time it's tried, abstinence does not produce a child. Abstinence does not produce a venereal disease. Abstinence does not produce you waking up in the morning not remembering what happened last night with some strange person in your bed. Just saying. Morals. Who determines what morals are? Well, when man determines morals, this is what you get.
He didn't free any hostages in Gaza. No, we didn't catch the cocaine bandit. It was a somber day. It was a day of grieving.
Today, on Transgender Day of Remembrance, we grieve the 26 transgender Americans who were killed this year. Year after year, we see that these victims are disproportionately Black women and women of color. No one should face violence, live in fear, or be discriminated against simply for being themselves. We mourn the loss of lives that have been taken too soon.
Primetime mourns the loss of all life, like the victims of the Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre, the victims of the BLM riots, and the 100,000 fentanyl ODs. So we did as we always do and reflected on who exactly we're grieving. Who are these 26 transgender individuals who were killed? Well, Primetime found a familiar face. His name is Little Turtle, Tortuguita. You remember Tortuguita, also known as Manuel Paez Terán? He was Antifa, a 26-year-old indigenous queer, non-binary militant who lived in the forest. He was a part of Atlanta's Forest Defenders, a group of angry Keebler elves living in tree houses in the woods over the past 2 years. Remember after George Floyd, the Democrats said police needed to be better trained? Well, the police were building a new training facility in Georgia. But Little Turtle didn't want police to be better trained. He didn't want police at all. All the little turtle wanted was a forest where police wouldn't be allowed to enter. And for the last few years, Antifa has been battling Georgia police officers and raising all sorts of bloody hell. They've thrown Molotov cocktails at police, launched rocks and bottles at cop cars, shot fireworks at them. In January, when cops were clearing out the forest, Tortuguita refused to leave. He remained in his tent, defiant. Georgia state troopers say after he didn't comply with their demands, they used pepper spray. But Tortuguita responded by firing 4 shots at him from a pistol, leaving a Georgia state trooper seriously injured. Officers were forced to return fire, and unfortunately, Tortuguita was pronounced dead.
Is this target practice?
Atlanta Police Department with a less lethal agent that will be administered into the tent if you do not come out with your hands up.
Little Turtle's decision to shoot officers triggered chaos in Atlanta. Riots broke out. Antifa lit construction equipment and cop cars on fire, smashed windows, even threw bricks at police.
This is the Cop City site. Construction vehicles are up in flames. Like a trailer for the construction crew, about to be up in flames.
Tortuguita's compatriots were charged with domestic terrorism. And it turns out all this rioting done on Tortuguita's behalf is exactly what he wanted. Primetime just got a hold of Tortuguita's diary, which may be used by the state of Georgia in their RICO case against 61 Antifa tree huggers. Little Trans Turtle's diary will help the jury understand Treehouse Antifa's motivation and ideology in the domestic terrorism case. And let's just say this is not your typical diary, recounting your day, fantasizing about your crush. This was worse than the Trans Mass Shooters Manifesto. One page of Tortuguita's diary says, quote, "If the cops kill me, I want you to riot, to kill as many of them as you can. They are terrorists." He also wrote, quote, "I do not know when I will die, and that does not bother me. F the police and the government." On another page, the Trantifa member the White House just honored wrote, "Killing cops is okay!" Exclamation point. Tortuguita continues on, F12. "I hope every judge, KKK cop, and bootlicker dies painfully and is remembered as scum." Whoa, Little Trans Turtle. RIP. But like all cop-hating militants honored by this White House, Little Trans Turtle was more than just a violent ideologue. He was an artist, or she was an artist. We don't want to misgender a dead criminal. Here's one of his drawings of a cop car lit on fire, accompanied by the words, "Cop cars love being on fire." We've also got this one of an office on fire with the words, "Riot. Cops don't want to give us rights, so set them on fire!" Exclamation. These renderings may look elementary to you, but like Hunter Biden, Little Trans Turtle's art was ahead of its time. He's got a picture of revolt, someone shooting a cop with the words "oink, oink" written next to the cop. I'm just so glad the White House is commemorating this beautiful soul whose life was so tragically taken from us.
So there you have one of the 24 counted in the White House remembrance of Trans Day was this guy. I'm sure the others have great stories to go along with their transients. But the real problem is when you who decides what morals are? Because if man decides what morals are, the morals are whatever you want them to be. Or is there a higher power? Breaking news on the trans fronts, do. breaking news. You're not going to believe this one, but it's out. It's broken. But you're not going to believe it. A woman wins 2023 Miss Universe pageant. Yes, you heard that right. A real woman born with a vajayjay wins the 2023 Miss Universe pageant. How despicable is that? Not that she won, but that's actual news. That's a news report that a woman won instead of a dude who pretended to be a woman. If you don't have a higher authority determining right and determining wrong, then right will become wrong and wrong will become right. It'll be almost as if we turn the truth into a lie. It'll be something along the lines of, he did not say you will surely die. And that's where we are today, isn't it? Everything goes back to, he did not say you will surely die. Let's go back to MSNBC and re-listen to what this lady said about the base, because there's another point here.
They have a base problem. Their base controls their party, right? And so that's why Donald Trump is going to be their nominee. And I'm thinking about with this off year election and all of the things that they ran on that were losers besides abortion, book bans,
Right.
anti-woke, gas stoves.
What do you say? The trans didn't you're right. It is a base, like Democrats. What do they do with their base?
Yeah.
We'll get back to it in a couple of weeks. I mean, but the Republican base
is running the show.
They run the show.
Yeah. And that's what
they're lamenting that the Republican base runs the show. This is what, by the way, the mainstream Republicans, this is what the debates are all about. The Republican base under Trump runs the show. Make America Great Again. The mega base are making the decisions. The Democrats, we'll get back to you later. We're not interested in what you have to say. But I thought these were the bulwarks of democracy. They're threatening our democracy. They're threatening our democracy. They're threatening our democracy. They're threatening our democracy. Donald Trump is threatening our democracy. MAGA is threatening our democracy. Well, you see, democracy doesn't mean what you think it means. Democracy means the elitists decide for us. We're not going to listen to the base, those ignorant, gun-toting, pickup truck driving, rebel flag waving, Bible carrying, clinging to their guns and religious from Alabama and from Arkansas and from Missouri and Kansas, from Ohio, from Michigan, flyover country, all the places between LA, San Francisco, and New York, where the real cultured people live. The real leaders who make the wise decisions, on morality. The ones who understand the importance of killing babies. The ones that understand the importance of making sure that our 9-year-olds know how to properly do fellatio. We can't be listening to them soccer moms standing up at the school board meetings, those are domestic terrorists. These people at MSNBC are literally saying you have no opinion. Why do we bother to vote? Why don't we just get rid of the vote and manifest destiny, appoint kings? Why don't we just do that? That'll solve the problem. Get rid of all this cumbersome democracy. Well, you see, this is the reason why we're not a democracy. This is the reason why we're a representative republic, because our representatives are public servants, not our rule makers, not our lawmakers, not the ones in authority. My pastor, some folks at my church one time during the Rona, used the scripture that said we're supposed to listen, we're supposed to obey the authorities appointed over us because they were appointed by God. God says, I gave you a country for the first time in the history of man where you can select your own leaders, and this is what you've done with it. We deserve Joe Biden. We deserve Barack Obama. We deserve Chuck E. Schumer. We deserve Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy and Roma Romney. We deserve it. Our founding fathers would be rolling over in a grave. They're upset because the base, the people, are in charge of the mega Republican Party. How dare they? How dare they think they have a voice? Think about that for a minute. You know, if you're a liberal Democrat, you're on here trolling right now, you're watching my show and you're going, oh, you're a bunch of mega conspiracy theory morons. Doesn't that piss you off that according to MSNBC Morning Joe, the Democrats go blow smoke in your face and tell you we'll get back to you, Democrat? Doesn't that make you mad? I mean, if it doesn't, one of us is an idiot. Which one do you think it is? I mean, that should piss you off beyond that they have that much disrespect for you personally, Democrat, that they're going to blow smoke in your face and say, we'll get back to you later after we make all the decisions for you because we're smart and you're dumb. I'm not shocked by this. These are the same people who sit there and say, you know, black people need to be helped because, you know, they're just not. We can't have voter ID because people of minority colors aren't capable of getting IDs. The same people. What do you mean? You mean to tell me that there's not enough brain matter inside of a person whose complexion is darker than mine, that they're incapable of going down to the license bureau and getting a free government ID, that they can't handle that's too far beyond their intellectual prowess? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you're telling me that, you're a racist. You see, because I believe in this country that every single man, woman, and child has the ability to become whatever it is they want to become, whatever they're willing to pay the price to become. If you want to be Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, you have to do the things that Elon Musk did to become the richest man in the world. Some people are completely happy riding around on the back of a trash truck, pays their bills, feeds their family, makes a comfortable life for themselves. They don't want any more. And that's fine. Some people work a job at a factory all day long. They carry around a little radio with them everywhere they go because they love the volunteer fire department. And they want to ride around on the back of a fire truck going, me-noo, 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 to the fire. Some people love doing that. They don't have any other aspiration in life. And you don't want to know something? That's okay. Some people want to be titans of industry. Some people want to invent something and change the world. Some people want to be a teacher, not for the money. And let me tell you something. If you're going into teaching for the money, someone lied to you. and you need to find another profession. Some people want to be a teacher because that's where their passion and their love is watching the minds of little children just explode in knowledge and see their eyes light up. People are different, and that's a good thing. I'm grateful that there's people that want to be nurses. I don't want to be a nurse because I have no compassion. I don't care. I darn sure don't want to be a teacher handling somebody else's skulls full of mush little brats. No, but there are people that have a passion for those things. Thank God. My dad, 50 years as a bus driver, and he loved every minute of it. Somebody's got to drive the bus. Somebody's got to sell the car. Somebody's got to detail the car. I got a friend who has a detail business, and he does a great job. Does beautiful work detailing cars. Charges you for it. There's different strokes for different folks, but here's the thing. These people sit here and tell me that because of your economic status, or because of the color of your skin, or because of the location where you live, or because of your religion, you're too stupid to make a decision. And they're going to do it for you. Again, we need to go back to the system we had between 1850 and 1913. That's what we need to do. And we need to take all these people and we need to tell them to stick it somewhere. That's what we need to do. Because, well, the Democrats are in panic mode, though. The Democrats are in panic mode. They know they're getting slaughtered. They know that Joe ain't the guy. They know that Donald Trump's going to trounce them, which is why they've conspired. We'll get with that with the RNC, with the Republicans to take Trump out so they can win.
Tough road ahead. What do you think?
I'm actually not surprised by the polling either. I think it's about time Democrats start having the tough conversations about the election, about who's going to replace Joe Biden. It cannot be Kamala Harris and it can't be Governor Newsom. And I also think we also need to start addressing, let's say, the migrant crisis that's affecting almost every major city that calls itself a sanctuary city, where I am from, Philadelphia and Chicago. One of the things I watched 2 days ago was Cardi B's viral rant about how dirty the city is going to become after the budget cuts because of the migrants. And if Cardi B is watching this now, what I would tell her is maybe she should go on X and tweet out to President Xi so that he can come to New York City, and maybe Mayor Adams will then clean the city up. I think it's going to take major moves for the actual voters who vote Democrat to start voicing their opinions, even if it's a vote of no confidence for Joe Biden, to show the Democratic Party that we need to start having conversations about who's going to put our best foot forward for the next 4 years.
Such a good point. Maybe they'll clean up the city. Juliana, what do you think about that? It looks like even Democrats and independent voters are open to the Republican side just because of the past policies of former President Trump. What do you think about that?
I think Americans can look back and see, were they better off 4 years ago, or are they better off now? I think they know they were better off 4 years ago. The economy is big for a lot of people. And I think they can see that President Biden, his policies just haven't brought their families to where they should be. And I think, as I said, America has been presented as weak. We want to see a strong America and a strong nation. And that's not something that President Biden has put forward. That's something that Republican candidates can put forward.
Yeah, Jamil, it looks like also when it comes to the voting bloc of black voters, they're not all saying they're going to vote for Republicans, but a lot of black voters are saying, look, I'll give the Republicans a shot, or I'll just stay at home. But it doesn't seem like there's any interest in the Democratic Party right now. You've been seeing it in Chicago, Philly, California.
I 100% agree. I think this is an inflection point for both parties. I think right now Republicans may be sitting back and thinking that black voters or minority voters will vote for them just because what's on the ticket for Democrats, such as President Biden, is such a horrible option for their city, or to continue voting for the same mayors. I think Republicans need a message to actually go out there into these communities and put out messages to people of colors and showing them what kind of conservative policies that can elevate their communities, that can, bridge the gap in community and make their actual neighborhood safer. And I think complacency for Republicans is leading to the destruction of our cities as well. So I think it goes hand in hand between, can Democrats actually gather together and put someone on the ticket to represent, I guess, the vision for the next 4 years for cities, versus can Republicans actually go out there and invest a lot of money into having these conversations, these town halls, and leading with Black leaders and churches. I think it has to be a full-throated effort if Republicans actually want to start turning some major cities red.
It's such a good point. Black voters aren't asking for anything special. They just want a message. And how is these conservative policy going to benefit our community? Fascinating conversation. Jamil, Juliana, thanks so much.
Sorry about that. So black people are saying, according to this guy, how does this affect me? How does this affect me? I'll tell you how it affects. MAGA, Make America Great Again, rugged individualism, people, how our country was founded works like this. If you have white skin or brown skin or black skin, if you're tall or short, if you're male or female, if you're fat or thin, we're going to leave you alone. We're going to let you be you. We're going to let you use your own ingenuity to figure it out. We're not going to help you with shackles. Yes, all this help the government gives you, all these free handouts, when you take that free handout, when you take that welfare, isn't it amazing how if you want to get welfare, you have to be a woman with kids? And if you go out and get a job, they'll take it away from you. And they give you just enough that you won't starve to death. Just enough that you won't vote for the rascally conservative that says, we need to look into this. We're $34 trillion in debt. And they come along and they say, they want to take away your bennies. When if you would just listen to a guy like me who says, go out, buy something, flip it, buy something else, flip it, buy something else, flip it, buy 10 things, flip it, buy 100 things, flip it. Next thing you know, you're creating your own way. But no, you don't want to do that. It might mess with your benefits. We can't have that. We can't have that. But you know what? It's not just Democrats. It's not just Democrats. It's the Republican Party. Listen to this. It's from Revolver News. There's a reason why Ronna Romney McDaniel keeps the GOP debates going and is not what you think. Many are questioning the rationale behind continuing to host and broadcast GOP debates with head-scratchy liberal hosts, given the low viewership and the general consensus that no one on the stage can beat President Trump. So, what's the real purpose of these events? A libertarian writer, Jeffrey Tucker, believes he's unraveled the mystery. Tucker initially found these debates absurd. However, after further consideration, he's come to see the strategy unfolding before our eyes, orchestrated by influential figures working for the establishment. He claims that it's all part of a larger plan to damage President Trump and conservatives in the eyes of the general public. Tucker has noticed that each debate seems deliberately crafted to create dissonance among various voter groups. And he's given us some interesting example. Here's what Jeffrey said on X. He said, at first, I thought the media questions at the last GOP debate were just stupid. Thinking back, I realized they were designed to alienate voters, various constituent blocks from the GOP. Some examples. Should we ban TikTok? Yes. Alienate under 25 years. So under 25 years old. Should we increase retirement age? Yes and no. Alienate scared old people. Should we bomb Mexico for fentanyl? Yes. Alienate Hispanics. Should the government fund more child care to alleviate the shortage? No. Alienate moms. Same with abortion, and you name it. There are very few intelligent questions related to the general good. In other words, these questions are not stupid, they're a plot. Many think Vivek Ramsaway, I can't believe I can actually pronounce his name mostly now, has already caught on to this, which explains why he's been targeting RNC chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel. She's the driving force behind these debates, perpetuating the far-fetched idea that the GOP primary is still open and that President Trump isn't the definite candidate for the party. What's your take? Is Mr. Tucker correct in suggesting that this is more friendly fire from the GOP in collusion with the mainstream media? Do they prefer a Democrat in the White House over President Trump? Well, do they? Well, do they? Well, do they? Well, yeah, they do. They do for sure. Ron DeSanctimonious was on Fox. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Here we go. You ready? I know how to smile. I've been practicing. Anyways, he was on Fox, and this is how it went.
So every day you're out campaigning. What are the top 3 issues that you would say the people who come out to see you say, hey, Governor, we need to fix this, this, and this?
Well, first, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Thanks for having us on. And we are doing a big canned food drive today in New Hampshire. We're going to be donating to the New Hampshire Food Bank. So I would just say Americans, as they enjoy their Thanksgiving.
So there he is. I'm smiling. The guy is as fake as a Clinton $3 bill. But I wasn't going to talk about all this, but here we are. I just wanted to get to this part right here. These are Ron DeSantis supporters. They would rather have Joe Biden than Donald Trump. These are not patriots. These are not conservatives. These people hate America. I will say this, 2/3 of the Republican elected and bureaucratic party are Democrat socialist Marxists in disguise. Josh Power. If a Republican, I'm a Republican and I will not vote for Trump if he's the nominee. He's disqualified himself, both as a conservative and a citizen worthy of the office of the presidency. He did many things that were awful, but when he called for suspending and terminating the United States, this Trump never said this, by the way. It was a total lie. Never said it. But he doesn't want to vote for Trump because Trump is evil. No, he'll vote for Joe Biden. You know, because Bidenomics. If Trump wins the nomination, our options are 4 years of Trump followed by 8 years of Newsom. No, if Trump wins the nominee and gets in and becomes the wrecking ball he needs to be, we'll have 30 years of not having a uniparty Republican or Democrat in office, which is much better, by the way. 4 years of Trump followed by 8 years of Newsom versus 4 years of Biden followed by 8 years of DeSantis. DeSantis, look, if we don't fix our corrupt, evil election system, it doesn't matter who wins. I just showed you MSNBC. We don't listen to the base. Don't care what those little maggots have to say. The deplorables. Whether Republican or Democrat, we don't care. No. No, we're not concerned about that. We're concerned about our power. We're going to switch gears. We'll talk about X and some other stuff. I don't know. I got so much to talk about. I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. Check out the bile cell. Check out the liquid bile cell, ladies and gentlemen. You need to check out the liquid bile cell. If you haven't done so, why not? The stuff has changed my life. You know, when I was back in the younger man, I used to run 5 miles a day, 10 miles a day. I really did. I know it doesn't, you look at me like, no, I did up until I was about 35. I loved to run. I would run today if I could. But those days are over. But the thing is, I suffered from that. You know, all the aches and pains that you get from getting older and abusing your body when you was younger. You know what I'm talking, especially those of you that served in the military, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I started taking this product right here. It's called Liquid Bile Cell. It is a collagen hyaluronic acid matrix technology. It's one of a kind. There's nothing out there. It's got a bunch of stuff in there that works with some of the most bioavailable collagen on the market to improve your joint mobility and lubrication. That's what I'm talking about. To support your cardiovascular health and improve skin hydration, firmness, and tone. It has changed my life, taking a spoonful of this stuff every day. I started out taking it because my wife told me to. And I was like, okay, whatever. She got in this company, I'll take the product, whatever, I'll support my wife. I love you, honey. But after taking a bottle of it, I stopped taking it and I realized I was hurting again. It's like, wait a second, I had stopped hurting. Now I'm hurt. Now I'm not hurting. Better go get more of that stuff. So that's what I did. So if you want to try it, and look, there's a money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain by trying the product and supporting the show and all that good stuff. Let me tell you something. Hundreds of you have purchased this product and you continue to purchase it over and over and over again. Now, the first time you purchased this because I asked you to, and I appreciate that. But the over and over and over again, it's because it's working. You wouldn't do it but once or twice just to support me. But after 2 or 3 years of you continuing to buy it, I know it's working. So if you want to know more about the product, go over to the Patriot Mike Show fan page on Facebook. Just type Patriot Mike Show. While you're there, subscribe. Scroll down till you see my wife's pinned post at the top of the page where she's eating the chocolate sauce makes your pants fall off. That's another product we have called Trim. I've lost over 15 pounds in the last 3 weeks. I've been taking Trim since I started taking Trim again. My wife has lost well over 20 pounds over the years. There's a before and after taking Trim. Trim is a collagen-based product, again, that improves fat storage, improves muscle tone, inhibits fat storage, improves muscle tone, and restores youthful skin. And they just come out with a new product for the fall season, and that is pineapple upside down cake flavored. I haven't tried it because chocolate, I mean, who doesn't want to do chocolate, right? But I wonder what happens if you mix the pineapple with the chocolate. That'd be cool. Anyways, also do not forget, as you're going over there commenting, do not forget, ladies, to try the OVA. The OVA is a game changer. It'll change your life. It helps with the normal symptoms of PMS, and it's if you're not a real lady, it won't work for you. If you're a dude if you're a prevert that likes to dress in women's clothes, don't buy the product. But if you're a real lady and you're really suffering from either the symptoms of PMS or the system of menopause, these products are for you. So you can also get them by going over there and commenting. And if you don't want to go over there, just send me a text message to 660-620-6244 or an email to patriotmikeshow@gmail.com. We'll send you a link. It'll save you a few bucks off the first purchase. Look, we're not asking you to sign up for anything. We're going to ask you to watch a bunch of videos. You don't have to become a member or distributor to get the price. You're going to buy at the same price I do. The link takes you over there. It saves you a few bucks off your first purchase. All we're going to ask you for is your name, your address, because we need to ship it somewhere, right? We got to know where to ship it to and how you're going to pay for it. That's it. Now, there is an opportunity, as I talked about. You need to get a side gig. Now's the time, with the economy failing, to get a side gig, to get something else to help build wealth. There's an opportunity here. If you're in one of them things, give this one a try, is all I'm saying. It is different. It may change your whole outlook. I'm just saying. And you could definitely make a couple $100 a month. I could show you how to do it as simple as can be. Anyways, moving on. I can't believe he's grifting again. Chocolate covered with pineapple upside down cake, or pineapple upside down cake covered with chocolate. I'm just saying, it could be done. It could be done. All right. So now we're going to talk about what's going on with X, because X is blowing up. Here is it says Truth Social, Rumble, and the state of Texas announced massive defamation and free speech lawsuits against the most subversive, corrupt narrative projection arms of the deep state on the same day, exactly 1 year before the most consequential election in American history. And there are people who think there's no plan. If you are one of those people, you're either on the other side or you've been duped into doom and endless black pill consumption by those who are. Wake up and look at what's right in front of you. We're winning. This is interesting. I'm just going to quickly go over these. But just yesterday, first, he said Texas Attorney General announces, come on, technology, there it is. A Texas Attorney General opens investigation into Media Matters for potential fraudulent activity. You see, because Media Matters is a non profit entity, a 501c3 entity, they follow under some certain rules. And you see, you can lie about people all you want, free speech, but you can't commit fraud while lying about people, is what they did here. Missouri Attorney General tells Elon Musk that he's investigating Media Matters. So now I didn't put it on the screen. So now Missouri Attorney General is getting into the game. So there's several other attorneys general that are considering looking into the Elon Musk lawsuit against Media Matters and how they manipulated the content in order to create a story which was a total fabrication. And see, this affects stock prices on a publicly traded company. And well, that's a big no-no. Elon Musk says X Corp will be donating all revenue from advertising and subscriptions associated with the war in Gaza to hospitals in Israel and Red Cross and Crescent in Gaza. In other words, Elon's like, I'm not trying to make money off the war. I'll donate it all and try to help people. Which is, I'm not upset with that. That doesn't bother me. When it comes back to Ron DeSantis and all the people that support him, all these weak-kneed, yellow belly, puking up guts, ridiculous Republicans. I think this post, and I forgot to read it a little bit ago, so I'm going to do it now. People who can't defend themselves physically, women and low-T men, phrase information through a consensus filter as a safety mechanism. They literally do not ask, is this true? They ask, will others be okay with me thinking this is true? This makes them very malleable to brute force manufactured consensus. If every screen they look at says the same thing, they will adopt that position because their brain interprets it as everyone in the tribe believing it. Only high T alpha males and androtypical people are actual free to phrase new information with an objective. Is this true? Filter. This is why a republic, not a democracy, a republic of high status males is best for decision making. Democratic, but democracy only for those who are free to think. Free to think. When we are shut up and we follow orders and we do what religious folks in my world, in my community, have told me, you're supposed to obey those appointed above you. Well, when you're shut up and told to shut up and you don't stand up, people that are not allowed to speak freely to their government or to each other may be many things, but what they are not is a free people. Brian Cates. That's true. And we were told to shut up all through all that stuff with the Rona, the election, the Russia, all that stuff. Here's Tucker Carlson on Media Matters.
There's a group called Media Matters, which is it's a censorship organization funded by Soros and a lot of other people who hate Western civilization, designed to prohibit people from saying certain things. Well, the things that they're prohibiting people from saying are 100% true, and that's why they're prohibiting it.
Like I said, shut up. Media Matters. Why don't you prohibit you from saying things and thinking things that are true? They don't want you talking about where did the Rona come from. They don't want you talking about how voting machines are corrupted. They don't want you talking about it. You shouldn't have an opinion, except for the opinion that we tell you to have. Because if you don't have that opinion, it's a threat to democracy. Here's Laura Ingraham talking about this, and she mentions something in the midst of this.
All right, joining me now is former Trump acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. Matt, you called this lawsuit revolutionary. Now, aside from its relative novelty, does it have a chance?
Yeah, and it does. And it's good to be with you, Laura. And here's, my analysis as I looked at this complaint. First of all, Media Matters just manufactured this evidence. They created a way that only their unique account would be served these couple ads, and then they suggested that this is par for the course. And we know, based on everyone on the X platform knows that this is not par for the course. But what is so important is that Elon Musk and X are going to court, and they're going to, make these people defend their actions and their activities. And I think that, to me, is the most important thing, because for so long, conservatives have been, deplatformed, demonetized, and otherwise assaulted by these left-wing groups and the mainstream media that gives them, oxygen. And no one has been willing to go to court and actually pursue their rights. And so I think this is a big deal for someone to invest money in the court and in lawyers to actually go after groups like Media Matters.
No, you never see Media Matters upset that there are people posting on these social media platforms that call themselves minor attracted persons, right? They're attracted to minors, Oh, they're not pedophiles, but they're attracted to minors. I mean, so they don't have any problem with stuff like that, but it's a platform that offers conservatives and others a place to speak their mind. I'm just going to repeat, that is a threat to them going into this presidential election cycle, and it's a threat to them beyond. Freedom is a threat to them.
Yeah, and
freedom is a threat to them over at Media Matters. And she equated Media Matters with minor attracted persons. Did you get that? You see, I showed you yesterday how Media Matters is tied up with Podesta, tied up with Ping Pong Pizza, Pizzagate, minor attracted persons. Isn't that weird? Huh. General Flynn says, without Elon Musk buying and then allowing X to open its doors, America would not know how grossly corrupt the U.S. government is, nor how much severe censorship occurred to keep a sitting POTUS from performing its constitutional duties. The latter would be called treason. I believe this led to the 2020 election that was filled with fraud by many in his own administration, as well as outsiders, i.e., 50-plus intel officials. Who committed this treason still needs to be held accountable, although we have excellent starting points. With fair elections in 2024 and strong, smart, benevolent leaders, this will happen. For now, my question is, should President Biden be impeached immediately? Should accountability begin now? And that's a good question. I don't have an answer, but that's a good question. Here is David Brock being interviewed about Media Matters and their funding, and George Soros admitting that George Soros gives money to Media Matters. Let's overlook the fact that this guy looks like what do they call that? Anime. He looks like an anime character with his hair like this.
On Fox News, Media Matters gets painted as the George Soros funded group. Is he the main donor? Is it right for Fox News to basically describe it that way?
No, it's, we appreciate George Soros's generosity, but he is a major donor, but it's not a huge percentage of our budget. We have a very diverse funding base, and we're really not beholden to anybody.
So, for example, what percentage of your funding would come from Soros?
Less than 10%.
So you're saying that you have a diverse number of donors, but they all have the same interest, don't they? Same liberal politics at heart.
Sure. I think their interest is in honest journalism and a fair debate. And I think our donors believe that in the vast majority of cases, if people get accurate information rather than misinformation, that's going to serve the progressive cause. Sure. And we're open about the fact that we are a liberal organization. That doesn't mean our facts are wrong.
So they're open, they're about a liberal, and they get their money from George Soros. Wasn't that wonderful? I'm sitting here crossing things out, debating which way I want to go. There's a lot of stuff on my Telegram page about January 6th, a lot of good videos to watch, a lot of information that's developing. I'm not going to have time to get to it. Just not going to have time, because this story, I think, needs to be talked about. This is from Fox News. Air Force Base, Minot, North Dakota, warned service members to avoid Patriot rally with speakers from pro-Trump group. Well, the ads on this thing. Where's the story? Is that it? There's no story? Yeah, I have to enter the... Yeah, I didn't go that far down. Anyways, so there is the story on Fox, but they want me to give them my email address and sign up. I'm not giving them nothing over at Fox. They tell us they tell the service members that participation in Turning Point USA could jeopardize their military careers. So if you have opinions that are against what the government tells you you can have. Now, mind you, if they said it this way, because when I was in the military, you weren't allowed to show up to these kind of events in military garb. You could show up as a civilian in your own spare free time, but you weren't allowed to make political statements in uniform. If they said that, that would be fine with me. But that's not what they're saying here. That's not what they're saying, and that's not what they did. What they're saying is you cannot go to a Turning Point USA event to show your support for a political... Do people in the military get to vote? Well, of course, we just watched how they we don't care about your opinion, so I guess it doesn't matter. But do the people in the military get to vote? Then they're entitled to a political opinion, and they're entitled to go hear from the candidates and speakers of their choice. Because if these guys are in the military and they decided to show up to a Black Lives Matters rally, would that be okay? Here's Charlie Kirk, fired up about this subject.
North Dakota story. I might have to go out to Minot. Will they get really fired up? We'll see. I love that part of the world, by the way. A lot of lawmakers we're talking about are really upset. We better have some really big hearings about this. And, you know, I was texting with a senator in the break, and I was fired up. I said, why are we still funding these parts of the military and carving it out? They said, well, the military, it does great work. I said, I'm so sick of these Republicans. I could tell you what senator it is. And they said, yeah, we'll do some social media on it. We do not have a serious opposition party. No, they should honestly tweet out, no, the military doesn't get $800 billion if this continues. But again, I don't mean to pick on them, but I kind of do. We have no leverage right now. Any breaking news story that we want to hold the regime accountable, Congress is not in session right now. They're all on vacation. They're gone. Goodbye. Thank you, Speaker Johnson, for misleading us. Anyway, so I want to read this. Producer Andrew got a phone call from somebody. And by the way, just skip the hearings. Just start cutting spending. I'm sick of this hearings. I got to correct myself. Enough. And someone said, what can you do about the military? Cut the spending. Do you think for a second, I want you to imagine, if when Trump was president, if they said the attendance of let me think of a really simple, like the Minot Democrat Party organization. If you go there, you'd be kicked out of the military. How do you think that Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and these people would react? Why have Republicans not abolished every BS DEI piece of garbage in the military industrial complex? The military should have 0 diversity officers. Speaker Johnson, why didn't you do that? Why did you do a quote unquote dirty CR all the way to January? Why didn't you just do that? Remember when the military picked a fight with Tucker Carlson? Everyone involved should have been kicked out. Instead, they were promoted. The purpose of the military is to kill the enemy and to limit deaths on our own side. Win wars as quickly as possible. The military has become a social experiment filled with trans activists, filled with CRT believers. So I want to read this. Producer Andrew did a great job transcribing this. This is from a whistleblower at Minot. He said, by the way, this text is 100% true. 100% true. He said, all white Christian conservatives are marginalized. DEI and CRT are pumped into everything the commanders at the base do. All promotions and awards are given to those who buy into ideological-based trainings. This is a whistleblower. They also tell me that conservatives are leaving the military in droves. Recruiting is abysmal, and instead of changing directions, the leadership is doubling down. Joe Biden and the Democrats are actively undermining our military readiness and national security. Quote, the military all watches MSNBC all day long. That alone, you should defund these morons. Flip the switch the day Biden took over. And yet we have this CR all the way to January. No leverage, no working through Thanksgiving. Here's what could have been. The government could have shut down this week. So imagine this. The government could have shut down, which everyone would be freaking out. It's Thanksgiving, whatever. And imagine in the negotiation, hey, you want the government open, Chuck Schumer? Yeah, I want the government. Okay, then how about fix this? You could have then forced a negotiation. Instead, we just talk. Our side just talks. But hey, you guys can really be happy. You know why you could be happy? Your Republicans get a Thanksgiving break, guys. You're thrilled, right? Mike Johnson was with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Why isn't Mike Johnson in the House, like, I don't know, doing your job? Almost all the promotions the last 3 years in the military have been ideological. So this, I just want to read, for those of you just tuning in, just what am I yammering about today? Participation with groups such as Turning Point Action could jeopardize their continued service in the military. I want to make sure JD Vance and especially Tommy Tuberville are exempt from my criticism. Coach Tuberville, American Patriot. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. You're looking very smart right now. I wish Mike Johnson was as tough as Coach Tuberville. Tuberville was doing these holds on the DOD, and Lady Graham and Joni Ernst and Ted Cruz are attacking Tommy Tuberville for actually trying to get answers from the Department of Defense. This is just another piece of evidence. He's looking very smart right now. Very, very smart. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com.
So there's Charlie Kirk talking about it because he does the Turning Point thing, and he's fired up about it. Well, breaking news this morning, and I've got to go ahead and pull this up because I'm sitting there going, where did I read that at? Where did I read that at? I remember now. Over on Twitter, Matt Gaetz announced this morning about this very subject. And I shared it, so I should have it here. Here it is, right here. This is what Matt Gaetz says. Whoever is sending, come on, technology. There we go. Whoever is sending this message out was a good idea is definitely going to be answering questions. Whoever thought sending this message out was a good idea is definitely going to be answering questions under oath in the Armed Services Committee. Well, as Charlie Kirk says, you know, hearing. What are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? We need to have not just hearings. People need to be fired. Like they said, let's start cutting the funding. We're $34 trillion in debt. I think we can find some freaking funding to cut. Almost said a swear word. I think we can find something to cut. We're facing down World War III, and we're more worried about politics. We're more worried about whether or not you're pro wearing high heels. Robin Williams did a bit years and years ago about, you know, if there was homosexuals in the military, they'd be like talking about pink uniforms and stuff like this. And here we are. They said the quiet part out loud on MSNBC. The mega people are worried about they're listening to their base. The rest of them, that's the RNC and the DNC in its entirety, don't give a damn about their base. They give a damn about their power. And if they have to destroy you, if you have to die, if the world has to burn for them to maintain their power, then so be it. They hate you. Yeah, the greatest threat is climate change. I have an article that I don't have. I'm letting get. It's on my Telegram page. I'm not going to get to it, but I have an article where Joe Biden has now come and joined a climate thing at the UN put out by France to eliminate all coal-fired electricity. Understand, most of the electricity in the United States is coal-fired. The largest depositories of coal in the world are here in the United States of America. It is the cheapest form of producing electricity. Next to that is natural gas, which they want to get rid of. France, who has no natural gas and no coal-fired power plants, they're all nuclear over there, by the way, wants to get rid of coal fire for global climate change, which is a total pile of crap. They hate you. They want you to freeze to death. They want you to starve to death while they live in their mansions and fly around in their jet airplanes. You know, flying from San Francisco to New York to LA to go to their big parties and their big eat their Japanese steak and their caviar, smoke their big cigars, and drink their alcohol, while telling you you have to live in your 15-minute city and can't go outside your 15-minute city and not allowed to leave the building that you live in, you work in, and you crap in, and you eat in, and you have to eat bugs because of the planet. How dare they listen to their base? We either stand up and take this country back, or we kiss this country goodbye. And as Ronald Reagan says, we go into 1,000 years of darkness. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Now, I know what you're going to do. You're going to do what you're told because we have to listen to the people that are appointed over us. I never got to the point of that. I mentioned that before. The religious leaders in my community, you have to listen to the people appointed over you. It's in the Bible, don't you know? When that was written, you had emperors and kings and Pharisees and governors. Let me ask you a question. Who's appointed over you today? Is your governor appointed over you? Is your congressman or senator appointed over you? Is your mayor appointed over you? Is the president of the United States appointed over you? Is the Supreme Court appointed over? Nobody should be flipping appointed in this country, because the sovereign in this country, according to our founding fathers, is the people. The people are sovereign. So you should listen to the people appointed over you, the sovereign appointed over you. And in this country, that's the people, not our elected servants. They're to listen to us if you take it biblically, because we're appointed over you by the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And if you read what the founding fathers said, they said your rights are infinite. that are given to you by the Creator, not by government. That means government can't take the First Amendment does not give you the right to free speech. It guarantees that government can't interfere with the right given to you by God. The Second Amendment doesn't give you the right to keep and bear arms. It guarantees that the government can't interfere with the right given to you by God. The other amendments that guarantee you the right to your possessions and your persons do not give you the right to own property and possessions and persons, but says the government can't interfere with the rights given to you by God. But then again, if there is no God, there are no rights. And who chooses what morals are? That's how come we got transient day. That's how come we're killing our babies. That's how come we're teaching our 9th graders how to do fellatio. Or 9-year-olds. We need to get back to how this country is founded. We need to get back to where the golden era of the United States of America, 1815 to 1913. How our founding fathers envisioned it. And we need to take these progressive socialist Marxists, as Hillary Clinton said, these early 20th century progressives, AKA Hitler. Oh, by the way, the early 20th century American progressives are the ones that gave Hitler their ideas. Hello? Look it up. Look up the Boon Party. Look what they changed their names to in 1955. We need to get rid of these socialist, Marxist, communist progressives in the Republican Party as well as the Democrat Party. We need to charge them with treason is what we need to do. Anyways, you guys have a great day. And have a great day of giving thanks to God above for the bounty that he has blessed upon us. And remember, you're not thanking God for your food. You're not asking God to bless you. You're blessing God for the great things that he has done, for who he is. And if you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong. We'll see what happens Friday. But you guys have a great day. Patriot Mike is out.